Waking up, getting ready, going to school, attending class, hanging out with my friends, going home, taking a small break, doing homework, working out, if possibly, going to bed, repeat. My life as a teenager for the past 3 years has consisted on maintaining the same routine, where I'm supposed to acquire important academic information that will help the future me understand and succeed in life. This scaffolded knowledge was taught to me with the intention of taking me from point A to point B, building skills that would help me get to the finishing life of school and prepare myself for the future. Following this idea, in school, I've learned about maths, that is, how the logarithmic rules work, or how to solve quadratic equations when we want to know what x is. In science, I've learned that the powerhouse of the cell is called the mitochondria, and that animal and plant cells look and behave differently. I've also acquired important information about the scientific method, which has taught me how to undergo investigations to obtain a specific result, which I can then analyze. In English, I've learned how to read and analyze different types of texts, whether they are literary or non-literary, how to write remarkable essays, and how to think more outside the box when it comes to analyzing particular colors or simply the choices an author makes. History has taught me about all the important events that the countries around the world have undergone, how these events have had an effect upon their social, economic, and political development, and how that is fundamental for understanding the way today works. That is how we as a society have gotten to live the way that we do nowadays. In summary, I've learned a lot. I can confidently say that I found extremely useful all the academic information that I've received in school during my entire life, since it has taught me about the different theoretical perspectives that I see every day and how to approach them in a more informed manner. School hasn't been my only source for acquiring knowledge. I'm also thankful to my parents for teaching me about how to manage finance accounts and how to understand the different economies of the world in order to make investments. I've been lucky. This information and knowledge has given me skills which I've gradually used to obtain new knowledge and assimilate the theoretical thinking that I was trained to use every day. However, in the midst of learning and strengthening said skills, I came across one type of knowledge in which I didn't have specific trained skills in, where I was completely clueless. When growing up, I realized that I had a very important responsibility for my success in the future, one that I wouldn't find in library books, one I'd have to develop. That responsibility was learning and obtaining skills that would help me deal and face with anxiety. Although I knew I had the unconditional support coming from loving adults like my parents, my friends, and school even, I came to understand that this was a journey that I had to go through alone, as these were skills that, in majority, I couldn't be taught, since they could only work for me. I started experiencing anxiety during the 2020 lockdown, where I encountered a mix of troubling emotions such as fear, uncertainty, insecurity, and many others that threatened my well-being both physically and emotionally. All that I had been taught about how to solve mathematical equations or how to identify the physical characteristics of water couldn't help me understand how I had to deal with those unnerving feelings. The anxious emotions I encountered began intensifying as I grew up. I was acquiring much more knowledge about theoretical concepts that everybody should know about, but I remained stuck on how I could reduce the uneasy feelings and thoughts. First came excessive homework and harder math. Then came the realization that I was sadly not 10 years old anymore, and that my hobbies and my passions were changing. In relation to that, came harder interactions with people. As I was not as young as I thought I was, my approach to people had to be changed to one more appropriate and mature. Then came heartbreak, where I understood that people can be really hurtful. Afterwards came switching schools, where I could either win or lose, and where I had to take up full responsibility upon either, being aware of the risk that I could face. The most recent one was starting the IB, where I've encountered many challenges in terms of time management and how to have an organized schedule where I write what I should do every day, so I can deliver all of my tasks in the best way possible, but also enjoy my life as it is. That is, hanging out with my friends and family and being a normal 16-year-old. Through every single one of these stages, I realized and I tried to pull out the good things that I realized could make me feel better. For example, in one of these stages, I realized that it is fundamental to seek help and support from my loved ones and generally people whenever I need it. Seeking help means telling someone, whether that is a close adult, a friend, a parent, or a therapist, everything that is bothering me, so they can provide with tools that would help me deal with the situation and improve my mood. Once again, during every single one of these stages, I've had the unconditional support coming from my loving parents, one that I've appreciated fully and that has been extremely useful for me to get through the situation. But really getting over the situation has been something that I've had to live and figure out on my own. I also went to a therapist and talked to her about what was going on, and she gave me a very useful tip that I still use to this day. This tip is to write down in a journal everything that is bothering me, and then highlight what is real and what isn't. What is real is based on the real-life situation that I had certainty had occurred, and what isn't could be the possible things that I was making up in my head that were rooting for my anxiety. Another little thing that I picked up when growing up was finding little coping and healing mechanisms that worked for me. There were different people that would tell me what they would do when they were feeling stressed or overwhelmed or scared, and I would try every single one of their methods until I found my personal one, the one I would always go to when I was feeling overwhelmed or scared. In my particular case, it is dumping all of my thoughts into a locked notes app, listening to music, and organizing all of my thoughts in the mess of my head into a more pretty structure, like music. Following the same thread of learning through experience, I learned about time management. Throughout my entire life, I've strived to do good in school, and I've only managed to do so because I have a detailed schedule where I have what I have to do every day and for when my deadlines are. If I have an assignment that is due in a week, but I have time to do it the day it was assigned on, I will clearly do it, so time doesn't catch up to me and I have enough time to deliver all of my tasks in the best way possible, without accumulating stress and, more importantly, feeling overwhelmed with the amount of work. Last but definitely not least, during the times where I've encountered situations that have forced me to deal with anxiety, I've tried to focus building self-love in different ways. For example, I would strive to pull out the good things that came out of the situation, as bad as it was, and I tried to think about the lesson I was being taught with that experience, one that would help me grow up. I also began working out to release stress and distract myself from everything that was bothering me. On the whole, when I talk about self-love, it is based on highlighting the things that I know about myself and my life and bringing them out to life when I need them the most. Although it's been incredibly hard for me to grow up and understand that my life, and I've been changing as I've been doing so, I've learned how to manage the entirety of myself, even when I don't feel capable of doing it. By my own account and the help of my parents and my loved ones, I've picked up the little pieces and built up beautiful coping mechanisms that have helped me close the gap between what we call childhood and growing up. And I hope you can too. That way we will not only have tools to cope with the future in terms of our theoretical and academic knowledge, but also our personal one and emotional one, and for our performance to be the best in every single aspect of our lives. Thank you.